just and I'm not even know some record. I'm not even know some camera record for that. Yeah. Fucking bumper. He's got another one he's got called Dark Matter.
Because somebody knows something about you that they don't want you to know about yourself. That's what we have got to look at. So stop looking at Asia. Stop looking at Europe. Get deep into the fallopian tube where we came from. So, are we going to take a break? Or go right into the next one? Go into Merira's presentation, which I think is the most important part, because it brings it right up to the day and dealing with the great emperors and empresses of Ethiopia, which is very important. But don't feel, no, but look at this, it's the same thing that's still done today. What you think we're doing to get married? A white girl put her legs straight up in the air and said, this is yours. I mean, let me leave it alone. Just give you an idea. The culture is still passed down, is what I'm trying to tell you here. Going back thousands of years. But when I look at this closely, I see the Cushite with the rings on their hand. And when I was among the Cushite Bume, I see the rings on their hand. So you see, among the Bume village, the culture is still passed down. Had I not studied the culture, I would not have paid any attention to those rings on the brothers' hands right there. Okay? So you see it again right here, carved in stone. You see in the Bume village, our brother here with the ring, and this is a brother right here. I said, you better not mess with that brother. He got a blade on his wrist. But again, you see the culture going back countless thousands of years. But when we look at the Herodotus called the Ethiopians, the tallest and most beautiful and long-lived of human races, and Homer referred to the Ethiopians as the most just men and the favorite of the gods. Herodotus wrote, the Ethiopians have the oldest tradition by which men honor the deity, and the Iliad and the Homer wrote that Zeus and the Olympiad gods feasted for 12 days with the blameless Ethiopians. So the Greeks gave libation back to the African Cushites, and these are gold libation bowls with African heads on them. As you take a closer look at them, those are African heads. The Greeks gave libation back to Cush. They knew where the beginning was at. Let's look and see that these Amenemhet, 12th dynastic period, over almost 4,000 years ago. Here you got to go to France to see this piece here that was taken up out of Africa. But again, that is an Oromo, Cushitic African features that you see among them. And it's during this time of the Middle Kingdom they started the worship of Amun that I dealt with last night. And that's how you know the deity that they're worshiping, because it's always in their name, like Amenemhet, you see Amun. Again, we see again locks going back thousands of years. Here, this is a tradition and culture coming up out of the African Nile Valley. You can see the Oromo, Cushitic, Kemetic African emanating from the features of this African right here. As Eusebius and Dungy equally tells us again that the astonishing resemblance of the art of the 4th to the 12th and 18th dynasty, the great periods of Egyptian history, lies in the fact that they were dynasties that were purely Ethiopian. They represented the best genius of the race that had given Egypt her civilization when they were out of power. Her culture always declined, and that is the truth. Kenumet Amen Ma'at Gara Hatshepsut, 1400 years BCE. Here, this African, this sister here ruled Kemet during this time. In fact, she made an expedition back to the Holy Land, back to the land of Punt. She wanted to go back where our ancestors paid homage to, so she made an expedition back to the land, to Netherland, the land of God. And that's right down along the coast, right there near the area of what is now ancient, which was ancient Axum at one time. And this is carved on her temple where she meets Paria from Ethiopia, the sister with her buttocks that Merira deals with in her presentation. And again, she brought back myrrh, spice, ivory, and so forth up out of this region. This is not heathen or pagan and all the things that we've been taught. They are close with nature. Again, we see that there are various lip plates and so forth that was created, although it became fashionable, but it was done to ward off slave traders long ago. but you see the plates in their lips right here. But our ancestors saw ourselves one with nature, as we see the fertility goddess with the cornrows. And I say this may have been the first cornrows that came from them. But keep in mind, this is a time capsule. Africa, you can go back in time, as we see the Musi village in the Omo Valley region going back thousands of years. So we can't let Europeans interpret Africa to us. Let's go back to the dawn of time and go back to the Bennu. Here we see various groups of brothers and sisters going back. This is not pagan or heathen. You don't see the brothers gooing at the breast, all right? Or the sisters trying to cover up their breasts. They live in natural with nature. Ain't no sex problems. Here you got the sister, she's trying to breastfeed, and the brother looking at the breast, trying to jump on the breast and knock the baby out the way. Here. But here it was a natural thing. Had nothing to do with pagan or heathen or all the things that we've been taught today. So let's go back to the dawn of time and go back to the Hammer village and see all the various beautiful brothers and sisters. But as I observed them, I also noticed that their various hairstyle and the feather, this is where our ancestors, from their empirical observation of Mount Netchet, we see the African Kushites. Here in the Oromo culture, the Kushites being the Somali, the Far, and the Agu. But I look closely and see this is how our ancestors got the symbol of Ma'at, with the feather on their head. Did not come from Asia, did not come from the North or Europeans. It came deep from Africa. So that's what they observed where we see the ostrich feather, again representing Ma'at and the African goddess that gave the cosmic law of truth, justice, and righteousness, as we see the Kushite Nubian paintings equally, and look at their hair and look at our Kushite Oromo sisters and see how the ancient Kushites, everything's coming up out of the beginning. All we have to do is go back as we see our Hammer brothers and sisters here. Again, from the dawn of time, we're talking about living such a pure life that a common cold could wipe them out. That's how pure they are with nature. But look at the hair of the Kushite Ta-Nehisi, and also look at the Kushite Oromo Hammer. Where is the culture coming from? It's coming up out of the south, countless thousands of years ago. We cannot look at ourselves in a negative way in terms of going back to the dawn of time, in terms of looking at our culture and looking at the waves of time going down like the Bume village. And I looked at the Bume very close, and I said, that's identical to the Kushite Ta-Nehisi. Look at the Kushite Ta-Nehisi painting and our brother right here and see it's the same culture. It's alive and well in the interior of Africa. So we look at Sahura Nepka over 4,400 years ago, who called themselves the Saras, or the sons of God.
We come forth not to get you to believe anything. We see great diversity in that which you believe. And in all of that, there is perfect balance. And so we come forth not to alter your beliefs, but to reacquaint you with the eternal laws of the universe. And we are here to express all of that to you in detail.